Is there anything more terrifying and yet strangely intoxicating than the idea of pushing all your chips into the center of the table and saying, "I don't care about tomorrow. I want the ring today"? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We need to have a serious, perhaps uncomfortable heart-to-heart conversation about the price of glory, because the silence of the offseason is about to be shattered by a decision that could define the next decade of Phillies baseball. We are staring down the barrel of a trade proposal that is as controversial as it is bold, involving the one name we've been protecting like a state secret for years, Andrew Painter. This isn't just a rumor, it is a test of our collective nerve as a fan base and a front office. Let's set the stage properly, because the context here is absolutely critical. We just watched Ranger Suarez pack his bags for Boston, leaving a lefty-sized hole in our rotation that feels a lot bigger than the stats might suggest. We lost a guy with ice in his veins who lived for the postseason pressure. Sure, on paper, the rotation still looks formidable with Zack Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, and Aaron Nola. But let's be real with each other for a second. Are we completely comfortable trusting a rotation that showed significant cracks when it mattered most last October? Nola's struggles with the long ball haven't disappeared, creating a sense of dread every time a runner gets on base in a tight game. Taijuan Walker has been a roller coaster ride of diminishing velocity and command issues that often leaves the bullpen exposed by the fourth inning. And then there's the golden boy, Andrew Painter, the man we pinned all our hopes on. We've been waiting for his arrival like he's the messiah of the mound, tracking his rehab from Tommy John surgery with the intensity of a NASA launch. But here is the cold, hard truth that nobody wants to admit. Potential doesn't win playoff games, performance does, and Painter has 0 innings of major league performance to his name. This brings us to the bombshell dropped by Bleacher Report's Kerry Miller. The proposal is simple, brutal, and earth-shattering. The Philadelphia Phillies receive all-star right-hander Joe Ryan from the Minnesota Twins. In exchange, we send them our crown jewel, our number 1 prospect, Andrew Painter. Just let that sink in for a moment. We are talking about trading away a kid ranked as the number 16 overall prospect in baseball, a talent scouts compare to a young Doc Gooden, for a proven commodity. This isn't just a trade. It's a philosophical war between the build for the future crowd and the win-at-all-costs brigade. Why would we even consider this? Because the window is closing, folks. It's not slamming shut tomorrow, but it's creaking loudly with every birthday Bryce Harper and Tree Turner celebrate. The pressure to win isn't next year. It is right now, in this specific season, with this specific core. And while the romantic in us wants to see Painter grow into a homegrown legend like Cole Hamels, the pragmatist looks at his 5.40 ERA in AAA last season and gets nervous about relying on him in a pennant race. Is he ready for the bright lights of October, or will he be overwhelmed? Would Joe Ryan, fresh off an all-star campaign with a 3.42 ERA and nearly 200 strikeouts, be the missing piece that finally gets us a parade down Broad Street? Let's get into the weeds here, because the devil is always in the details. And Joe Ryan is a fascinating case study. When you look at Joe Ryan, you aren't just looking at a stat line. You are looking at a unique profile dominated by a rising fastball that defies gravity and generates an absurd amount of pop-ups and strikeouts. Ryan brings a level of certainty that is incredibly valuable to a team that cannot afford to experiment with its number 3 starter spot. Imagine a playoff rotation of Wheeler, Ryan Sanchez, and Luzardo. That is a 4-headed monster that provides different arm angles, velocities, and styles to keep hitters off balance all series long. Ryan isn't a rental either. He comes with 2 more years of club control, meaning he helps us win in 2026 and 2027. This fits the Dave Dombrowski modus operandi perfectly. Acquire established talent that raises the team's floor immediately without sacrificing the medium-term future. But we have to talk about the cost, because trading Andrew Painter is painful. It physically hurts the soul of a fan base that loves its homegrown stars. We have spent years hyping this kid up, watching every bullpen session on social media and convincing ourselves he is the next great ace of the franchise. To trade him now, right before he potentially breaks out, Feels like selling Apple stock in the 90s, a decision that could haunt you every time you check the ticker. If Painter goes to Minnesota and becomes the next Justin Verlander, winning Cy Youngs and dominating for a decade, we will never hear the end of it. It will be the trade that cursed the franchise, mentioned in the same breath as the worst deals in Philadelphia sports history. However, we have to look at the history of pitching prospects with a sober eye. For every Verlander, there are 10 guys like Sixto Sanchez or Spencer Howard. Guys who had all the hype in the world, but whose bodies or mechanics failed them at the highest level. TINSTAP, there is no such thing as a pitching prospect, is a cruel acronym, but it exists for a reason. Pitching is an unnatural act, and young arms are incredibly volatile assets. Painter's struggles in AAA last year are a reminder that development isn't linear, and his command hasn't fully returned post-surgery. Can we afford to let him figure it out in the majors while we are trying to chase down the Braves and Dodgers for a title? And what about the ripple effects on the current roster? Bringing in Joe, Ryan solves the Taijuan Walker problem instantly by pushing Walker to the bullpen. This transforms Walker from a liability in the rotation to a weapon in long relief, giving the manager a veteran arm to eat innings when a starter falters early. It deepens the pitching staff immensely, creating a trickle-down effect that saves the high-leverage relievers from being overworked in May and June. It also sends a message to the clubhouse. It tells Bryce Harper, Tree Turner, and Kyle Schwarber that the front office is all in on their prime years. We saw the Twins start their fire sale last deadline, sending us Harrison Bader and Joan Duran. So the pipeline between Minnesota and Philly is already open and active. The executives know each other, the framework is there, and the logic is sound. It's just a matter of pulling the trigger. Let's play out the what-if scenarios, because this is where the anxiety truly lives in the heart of every fan. Scenario A. We keep Painter, he comes up, struggles with command, gets shelled a few times, and gets sent back down to Lehigh Valley to work on his mechanics. We missed the division title by 2 games because our 5th starter spot was a black hole, and we are forced into the wildcard round where anything can happen. Scenario B. We trade for Ryan, he dominates with his invisible fastball, and we win the World Series. Nobody cares about Painter anymore because we have a trophy and flags fly forever. Just ask the 2008 team if they missed the prospects they traded to get Joe Blanton or Brad Lidge. Scenario C. We trade for Ryan, we lose in the NLCS, and Painter wins the Cy Young for the Twins 3 years later. That is the nightmare scenario that keeps GMs awake at night. But fear is the mind killer in baseball management. You cannot operate out of fear of looking bad later, or you end up paralyzed in mediocrity. You have to operate on the probability of winning today, maximizing your odds when you have a roster this talented. The analytics department is likely crunching these numbers right now, weighing Ryan's high strikeout rate and low walk rate against Painter's raw, unrefined stuff. It's a clash of the known versus the unknown, the floor versus the ceiling, and the safety of the present versus the promise of the future. So, where does this leave us? We are standing at a crossroads that defines eras. If the Phillies pull the trigger on this deal, they are signaling that the future is a luxury they can no longer afford to prioritize over the present. It is a ruthless, cold-blooded approach to team building, but history is written by the victors, not the hoarders of prospects who never panned out. Look at the teams that have won recently: the Rangers, the Astros, the Dodgers. They made the hard moves, trading away beloved young players to get the pieces that put them over the top. The emotional component of this cannot be overstated because we love our homegrown kids. There is something special about watching a player come up through the reading Fightin Phils and dominate. Trading Painter severs that potential bond before it even fully forms, robbing us of the chance to say we knew him when. But ask yourself this. Would you rather have a homegrown hero on a second-place team or a mercenary ace on a World Series champion? The Twins would be getting a lottery ticket that could pay out billions, but the Phillies would be getting the cash in hand to spend right now. Ultimately, this trade proposal forces us to confront our own patience and our appetite for risk. Are we willing to wait for Painter to find his command? Do we trust the development staff to fix the issues that led to that 5.40 ERA in AAA? Or do we trust Dave Dombrowski to do what he does best, push the chips in and go for the throat? Joe Ryan is an all-star who strikes people out and prevents runs. He is exactly what a contender needs. Andrew Painter is a dream, a beautiful high-velocity dream. But in the harsh light of a pennant race, dreams don't get outs. I want to know where you stand on this, because this is the most divisive topic we've had in a long time. Are you team keep the kid, or are you team win now? Hit that like button if you want the ring, and tell me in the comments, is Andrew Painter untouchable? Let's argue it out below.